In the world of the internet, protected by two-factor authentication, password managers, VPNs, and private browser tabs, is it really as safe as it seems? We're diving into the story of a 25-year-old pedophile known as Blue Mutt, also called Toxic Sludge on Facebook. They've slipped under the radar, and as of June 2024, most of the internet has forgotten them. But I haven't forgotten. We'll read testimonies that expose their predatory behavior to remind everyone of the truth they hoped to erase. Let's start off with Aiden's story, which reads, "In 2015, I was 11 and she was 16. We dated for a few months, but I ended things because it felt weird to me. Then, in 2017, when I was 13 and she was 18, she admitted she still had a crush on me from when we broke up in 2015. I know she had said stuff like that before, but the only proof I have is from that 2017 conversation. For a few years, she would constantly message me about negative things in her life, how awful her family was, how she wanted to kill herself, and other sad stuff. A big part of our relationship was me feeling sorry for her, which made it hard for me to stand up for myself. Whenever I tried to talk about my problems, she would shut me down and make it all about her. Whenever I said I was uncomfortable with certain topics she brought up, she would respond by saying, "I won't talk anymore since everything I say is a problem." In 2017, she was dating a 14-year-old named Brianne while she was 18. We had a huge fight because she lied about breaking up with Brianne to make me feel better. That was the first time she really hurt me. We didn't speak for about a month, but she ended up coming back and admitting I was right. She should never have gotten back together with Brianne. Before I cut her off, she kept giving me trouble about my girlfriend at the time. My girlfriend was polite at first, but then Ivy started hurting me by messing with our relationship. My girlfriend began to hate Ivy, which made Ivy mad because she didn't like that my girlfriend hated her. It was confusing, but I wasn't at fault. Ivy just wanted to be the one dating me, and she even admitted she went back to Brianne because I was taken. She didn't like my girlfriend because she knew about Ivy's abusive behavior and encouraged me to cut Ivy off. Still in 2017, she pretended to have a friend named Logan, who supposedly cosplayed as her favorite anime character, Rio. She would never show him on FaceTime and would mute the call when talking to him. She even texted me from another number pretending to be Logan. I never believed it because it was obvious fake, but I wanted to see how far she'd take it. Eventually, I confronted her with evidence, and I found out she had used a cosplay picture from Tumblr for Logan. She is a compulsive liar. I saw her lie and steal right in front of me. She would call her mom, cry, and beg for money, saying she hadn't eaten in days. This made me look bad because I was supposed to make sure she had food. If her mom didn't send money, she'd throw tantrums and insult her family for not giving in. She also posted on social media asking for money, which friends would send. She even sold nudes to get money, but it all went to her weed addiction. I used to not believe in marijuana addiction, but she definitely had one. She spent every bit of money she had on weed immediately. So if you ever sent her money, I can confirm it was probably spent on drugs. I even quit my first job for her. I had a babysitting job Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., and made good money. When Ivy moved in, she said she didn't like the kid I was babysitting, and it stressed her out. She threatened to leave if I didn't quit, so I did to keep her here. Later, I told her I felt manipulated and controlled, especially because I quit my job for her, and that I thought she owed me. She disagreed and said that was bullshit. She admitted multiple times to lying and manipulating her family. She accidentally sent me nudes more than once. I don't have proof, but I remember her breasts, and know it wasn't okay, especially since I was a minor. When her mother visited from December 24th to December 30th, 2019, Ivy changed clothes in front of both of us, saying, "It's okay, Adrian doesn't mind. He's seen my tits plenty of times." She changed in front of me several times, and it made me uncomfortable. Now, let's review the screenshots provided. There are 9 screenshots to cover. Blue text, Adrian. "Half the time, I'm scared to talk to you when you're upset, because you always lash out at me. I want to help you and make you feel better. I was so excited when you said you were going to come sit with me." Grey text, Ivy. "Do you realize everything around me is falling apart? I lost my job. I have no money. My health is getting worse. I constantly throw up. How am I supposed to be happy? You don't know how badly I want to go home and kill myself. You don't know how badly I want to hurt myself. There is no helping me. My life is hell. Blue text, Adrian. I'm sorry all that is happening. This is another exchange between Adrian, the victim, in blue text, and Ivy, in grey. Adrian is trying to understand what's going on, but Ivy responds with more emotional outbursts and suicidal threats, once again shifting blame and putting pressure on Adrian. Blue text, Adrian, the victim. What did I do wrong? Why are you mad at me? Grey text, Ivy. I'm mad at everything. I'm mad I'm still fucking alive. This whole bullshit from tonight just put the fucking cherry on top. I'm done. I'm ready to kill myself. Lamau. Blue text, Adrian. I know, but like, when you do this, I don't know what to do. You get pissy and take it out on me. I try to help, and everything is just, whatever, I don't care. And I don't know. I always feel like I did something wrong. I feel really shitty. I just want to help you. This exchange is between Adrian, green text, and Ivy, grey text, who also went by the names Arlen Elizabeth, Toxic Sludge, and Blue Mutt. At the time this conversation took place in 2016, Adrian would have been around 12 years old, while Ivy was about 17. This makes the romantic undertones in this conversation deeply inappropriate and highlights the concerning power imbalance at play. Green text, Adrian, the victim. Lamau. Grey text, Ivy, aka Arlen Elizabeth, Toxic Sludge, Blue Mutt. So, I'm single, and I love you more than words can say. Honestly, I wouldn't want to be with anyone else. You've pretty much made my life worth it. Green text, Adrian. Or, grey text, Ivy. And I want to know if maybe you'll go out with me, possibly? Green text, Adrian. I know I said I would by Friday, but honestly, I find it so awkward when I'm in a relationship online. But I really love you so much. Grey text, Ivy. Yeah, I feel you. This conversation took place in 2017. At the time, Adrian was 13 years old, and Ivy, also known as Arlen, Blue Mutt, or Toxic Sludge, was 18. Ivy. I get an hour of sleep every night. Adrian. Do you want me to stop watching Bella then? I'll tell her that I need to focus on homeschool. Ivy. I went to bed at 4 a.m. last night. Adrian. I can just not bring Bella into the room in the morning then? That's no different than when you lived at home. Ivy. I'd sleep all day at home. Adrian. Then do that here. I'm not going to stop you. I don't care if you sleep all day. I only woke you up today because you told me to. Ivy. I literally can't. Even if you don't wake me up, Bella does. Every day I've literally woken up more and more depressed. I cried talking to Ivan today. I told him it's the first time I've thought about suicide since I left. Everyone's like, get over yourself. You did this to yourself. I literally can't go back. I'm stuck. Ivy, I want to go home because of it. I hate kids. I hate babysitting. I quit babysitting Dryer, and I made $50 a day, and I got to stay in 5-star hotel rooms. Adrian, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do if I don't watch Bella? I don't have anything else to do. She literally structures my life. I love watching her, and you don't have to be a part of it if you don't want to. I'm not forcing you to hang out with her. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Ivy, my mum was literally right. She told me I'm going to get pissed off with having to be around a kid. I'm just going to end up going home. I don't want to be around a kid every day. Adrian, please don't make that the reason you're going home, because you're going to regret it. Do you want me to quit watching Bella then? My only income of money? This was my first job. My first job where I made my own money, and I love doing it, even if it stresses me out. Adrian, you're willing to go home and be treated like shit again by your grandfather? You know he's going to be even worse now that you said you weren't coming back, and then you do. All the toxicity in New Jersey? Ivy, my grandfather told me if I even thought about moving back, he'd call the cops on me. Adrian, I will stop watching Bella next week. You're not stuck. Listen, dude, I'll make it more comfortable for you here. I only want you to be comfortable and happy. Ivy, I literally feel like a piece of shit, but when I get a job, I want to help you. I want to buy you stuff. Adrian, why? Ivy, because I fucking love you? You're my world. You have been. Adrian, first you're telling me you want to go home and now you're talking about if you get a job. I'm so confused. This conversation likely took place in 2017. At this time, Adrian, the victim, was 13 years old, and Ivy, also known as Arlen, Blue Mutt, or Toxic Sludge, was 18. Ivy, you have a reason to be hurt that I'm with Brienne. I don't have a reason to be hurt you're with Autumn. Adrian, did you want to be with me? Ivy, kinda. Adrian, oh. Ivy, I really like you. I told Autumn I had hella feelings for you, and she kinda told me to get over them. So that's why I'm back with Brienne. To get over them? Adrian, you shouldn't go to someone else to get over your feelings for another person. That's not really going to help much. Ivy, I've been into you since we broke up. Adrian, oh, I'm a whole lot younger than you know. Ivy, I know. Adrian, I'm not trying to offend you or upset you or be mean in any way, but I just don't understand how somebody could be in love with someone drastically younger or older than them. In some cases, it seems pedophile-ish. Not so much in this one, or with the one with Brienne. Ivy, but okay. Adrian, Ivy, when you talk to someone almost every day for 3 years, I think there's kind of going to get text cuts off here. Let's go ahead and move on to one of the Facebook screenshots that shows Ivy admitting to sending nudes to her girlfriend at the time known as Brienne. Much like Adrian, Brienne was also a minor. Here's the Facebook screenshot proving that Ivy admitted to Adrian that she sent nudes, also known as naked pictures of herself, directly to her ex-girlfriend, known as Brienne. For context, Brienne would have been 14 years old, while Ivy would have been 18 years old. Before I show the screenshot, I do want to point out that the link to the evidence along with the link to the pedophile is in the description box below, so if you've been struggling to keep up with anything, look in the description box to make it easier on yourself. This message was sent by Ivy, also known as Arlen, Blue Mutt, or Toxic Sludge, directly to Adrian. At the time, Ivy was 18, and Brienne, the person she's referring to, was approximately 14 years old. Ivy, you've got my Facebook password. I wouldn't suggest reading our conversations, because there's nudes and stuff sent. A lot. Okay. I need a break from reading this, because I genuinely feel bad for Brienne. Not just because she was manipulated by a predator, but because she had to see this actual goblin naked. Viewer discretion advised. The following image may induce extreme nausea, sudden loss of appetite, involuntary gagging, or even full body cringe. Side effects may include, but are not limited to, physical vomiting, emotional instability, existential dread, and spontaneous questioning of all your life choices. If you have a sensitive stomach, are currently eating, or have recently experienced any traumatic events, please put your food down and step away from the screen. Consult a medical professional before proceeding. By continuing, you acknowledge that I take zero legal responsibility for any adverse reactions, psychological damage, or therapy bills caused by what you're about to witness. You've been warned. Good luck. This is what she looked like. This. I know we keep saying victim, but Brienne deserves hazard pay just for having to witness that. I used to laugh at conservatives when they made memes about the blue-haired, shrieking woke monsters. I thought they were overreacting. But nope. This is precisely who they were warning us about. I might need to trade in my politics, buy a red trucker hat, and binge Ben Shapiro, because this is the final boss of liberal cringe. This creature is what happens when you mix Tumblr, trauma dumping, and unchecked delusion into a toxic cauldron of pick-me chaos. Okay. We've had our fun and laughed at Ivy long enough. Let's go back to the reason we've all come here, to expose this weirdo for being a pedophile. According to Adrian, Ivy always had a new crush. Every other week, it was someone different. And this isn't just shade, it was a consistent pattern. She'd bounce from person to person like she was emotionally speedrunning her Facebook friends list. Her sexuality and romantic interests would change constantly. That alone isn't necessarily a bad thing, but Adrian said it made people stop taking her seriously. No wonder folks started backing off. They saw how quick she'd jump from one person to the next. Apparently, nearly everyone she talked to had either been her crush or currently was. And Adrian didn't think those were real crushes either. More like, I like you as a person, so I must be in love with you, kind of logic. He also opened up about how emotionally draining it got. Ivy would constantly unload her problems on him without warning. Every conversation turned into a therapy session full of negativity. Adrian said it started to wear him down, like her chaos was seeping into his own mental state. And they argued about it a lot, because she couldn't understand how much it was hurting him. Earlier, Adrian mentioned how he and Ivy's friends were sending her money for basics: food, jackets, shoes, trying to help her out. But then he asked, did she actually use the money I sent her to buy that winter jacket? And the other person just straight up said, no, her mum bought it. So basically, Ivy's not just a pedophile, she's out here scamming people too, taking money from friends for stuff she doesn't even need. This appears to be a conversation between Adrian and another person, though there's no screenshot to confirm it. Just filling in the blanks here. Adrian. She told me about how people sent her money for stuff she said she needed, like a winter coat and boots. But she bought weed. Her mum actually bought the coat and boots. Random person. Oh man, I heard you sent her money and felt bad because I knew she wasn't using it like she promised. Adrian. Yeah, a lot of people sent her money when she was in need, but there were plenty of reasons I couldn't just speak up about it. I'm not going to lie when I say that for these next 3 screenshots. I don't fully understand the context. It appears to be Adrian talking to someone about Ivy, and I assume Adrian is the one in blue, but there's no context to confirm or deny. So, I'm just going to make this easier by reading off the texts exactly how they present on screen. Person 1 says, I don't really even think she actually sees you as her best friend. Honestly, I feel like at this point in her life, I'm the most important person in her life besides her mum. And that's kind of sad since she's 20 and I'm 15. She went through that whole thing with me too. Like, she would FaceTime me and talk about The Undertaker like he was her dad, and she'd just be like, my dad this, and my dad did that. And it was very confusing because sometimes I didn't know if she was talking about her real dad or not. It really made me uncomfortable when she would act as if Black Butler was real. But of course, when I asked her to stop, it was a problem because that was her only outlet. Person 2, presumed to be Adrian, says, did she talk to you about that girl she accidentally upset because she thought they were just coping, like Neff did, with pretending anime was real? But the girl thought it genuinely was? I remember that so distinctly. We only ever had one Discord call, and that was what she talked about. Oh yes, that's the Atlas person I sent you. Yeah, she told me and also laughed about it. That she was tricking this person and purposely playing along like the Devilman universe was real. That person didn't actually believe it. Or God, I at least hope not. And she wasn't going along with it to avoid upsetting them. I talked to the person, and they said they were going along with what Ivy was saying because they didn't want to upset her. So, Ivy genuinely thought this person was stupid enough to believe that the Devilman universe was real? I don't know. It definitely was not a coping thing. I'm still looking through screenshots, and I found where she's talking about how she has no privacy or personal space, and that I bitched at her for talking to her mum. I was in bed trying to sleep, and she was damn near yelling on the phone with her mum. Her mum was definitely not crying. And I asked her to leave because I was trying to sleep. LMAO, I know she does. And at this point, I'm used to it. She does it all the time. She'd lie about me to her friends and say, I'm doing all this shit when I'm not. She would get so upset when I wouldn't pay attention to her. I wasn't allowed alone time, only at bedtime. She always sat on the floor 24/7 and smoked, and if I wanted to sit on my bed instead, it was an issue. Constantly sitting and laying on the floor messed up my back. I don't know how she does it. It's all right though. I've come to realize I don't deserve that. At least now I have somewhat of an idea of what to look out for in future friendships. Now that we've read through the horrifying things that Adrian has been through, let's move right along to testimony 2, which was submitted by an unknown person. Unlike with the first testimony, this one doesn't have much backstory or much context, so I will be reading the screenshots how they appear. She's had a crush on me before at least 2 times, if not more. There's nothing wrong with that, except she never seemed to take no for an answer. It was always kind of, well, maybe one day until she found someone else she liked picture. It seemed like she only ever wanted to talk to me when she needed to vent. Every conversation was how horrible her life was and how close she was to killing herself. Most of our relationship was definitely pitying her, and it absolutely caused me to back away from her, because I have my own problems, and having to listen to hers constantly put a big strain on me. Yep, I was constantly hearing about Destiny. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm definitely wondering how much Ivy did too. I don't blame you. It's a lot. I just wouldn't be surprised if they were both horrible to each other. You know? For all we hear about Destiny, I'm sure Destiny has her own stories we haven't heard. Oh God, Yeah, I was always uncomfortable with how she talked about her mom, and it was incredibly confusing. Like, one moment she loved her and said she was the only one who didn't make her feel like crap, and the next moment, her mum was horrible and terrible. I'd also like to say, it honestly wasn't surprising that Ivy tried to manipulate Adrian with talk about suicide. It's not something she's done to me, but I definitely feel like I've seen her do it. We're officially halfway done with reviewing the evidence. This is testimony 3, and this appears to be one of Ivy's friends reaching out with their own story while confirming that Ivy is a pedophile. Without revealing too much, let's read over what this person had to say. Much like the last testimony, this one only has a couple of screenshots with no further context, so we will show the screenshot and read the screenshot together. Hi. Absolutely. I'd love to help. Ivy is 100% a predator, and that's why I stopped talking to her. She didn't like being called out, and she denied it. But by the time it had come to me accusing her, I already knew what she was, and that's why I cut contact. I don't associate with paedophile scum. Can I ask what's been going on over there? Fucking hell. That's so gross. And yeah, that's typical Ivy, to start bitching about her entire life as though she's so hard done by when she gets completely, justifiably called out for something she does. She was always like that when I knew her. Unfortunately, I just went back to see if the messages I exchanged with her were archived on here, but it looks like I can't access any of them because she blocked me. Our chat just doesn't even show up when I type in her name. Do you know if there's anything I can do about this? I'm going to look into it right now because I would really, really love to help you get evidence against her. I remember posting a status about her at some point after we stopped talking because I wanted to warn others of her behavior around minors, but I don't think more than a couple of people really took it that seriously. It would be great to raise more awareness. Did she ever mention her multiple personalities to you? That was something I remember very clearly. Her trying to use that as an excuse to say gross shit. We are now on testimony 4 out of 6. Jesus Christ. This testimony is going to be a long read. Spoiler alert. I apologize to anyone with ADHD or dyslexia who's trying to read along. Ivy and I met quite a few years ago. It pains me to even know that I was involved with such a nasty person. I forget what age we met, but I know I was around 18 or 19. And yes, she did trick me into believing that certain anime characters were real, because she would pretend to be them, just for my sake. So, we talked for a year or two until our first big fight, and I unfortunately don't remember what happened to make us stop talking for a year. After that, she contacted me again, and I decided, hey, she might have changed, and let her back into my life. But I felt so conflicted, because she was still the same person. I met her ex-girlfriend, who is now one of my best friends, through her. Ivy and her were on their third time trying to make it work, but Ivy and I soon broke our friendship off because of something else. Again, I unfortunately do not remember. And she told me to never speak to her or her girlfriend again. She sent screenshots of our convo to her now ex, but made sure to cut that last message out. So, I took a screenshot of it and sent it to her ex. She broke up with Ivy, but still wanted to be friends with her. Thing is, Ivy kept saying I was doing all this shit, contacting her, threatening her, those sorts of things, when I clearly wasn't, and said that she would press charges. I got all this info from her ex. There was a recent, but not too recent time that Ivy had contacted me through Messenger. I asked her why she wanted to talk to me, and she said she wanted to be friends with me. She told me lies, that her ex wanted to do shit to me, and how she wanted to hurt me, when I clearly knew her ex was a total sweetheart and would never do that, since her ex and I are really good friends. As I was talking to Ivy, her ex called up, and I told her what was going on. So her ex messaged Ivy and told her to say that shit right to her face instead of to someone else. And Ivy said something bad to her about me. Her ex told me how she would say that I was a burden throughout her friendship with me while they were together. But Ivy had said the complete opposite to me, which I knew was a complete lie. So, after that little interaction, I blocked her and never heard from her again. We are now on testimony 5 out of 6. We're getting very close to the end, folks. These next couple of screenshots are also long as hell. I'm so sorry to all of my ADHD or dyslexic viewers. Just know, I feel you. Just be glad I'm reading while you listen. Grey text says, hey, sorry it took me a minute to respond, but she's very controlling. She's always had a thing for Adrian, even when she and I dated. She doesn't care about who it is or how it's wrong. She just wants what she wants. She was taking completely naked pictures in his room to sell online. Like, who does that in a kid's room? Blue text says, any specific instances. And would you like to stay anonymous? Grey text says, with the pictures or her wanting to be with Adrian? And for right now, yes, please. But if I change my mind, I will let you know. Blue text says, both, if possible. Grey text says, I have the pictures from the account that show her in Adrian's room with the whole nude selling thing, if that helps. And she always talked about it. They had been best friends before I started dating her, but Adrian always had my back when she tried to cheat. She got extra possessive over any person she wanted or had in her life. She's got some issues, and that's why I cut her off a bit ago. We are on the final testimony, which is testimony 6. This is even longer than the last testimony. Jesus Christ on a stick. Okay, let's prepare to read this. Yeah, after she mentioned she was taking pills again, I got some real bad vibes and sensed something else was up. Especially since she told me nothing but bad shit about Adrian. But she lived with him for a while and is still friends with him, even though he supposedly treated her like shit. And I'm glad I left, because there's a lot in this that I don't want to deal with. In a relationship, LMAO. Ivy says, pills. I relapsed. Blue text says, oh shit. Are you okay? Ivy says, I am fucked up. I just took 3 more. Ivy says, Adrian fucking expects me to spend hella money on weed for him to smoke most of, and then never leave me leftovers from dinner or enough dinner to eat. Like, this is all spent on weed, and he doesn't do shit in return. Then throws a fit when I say, I'm done buying it. Grey text says, wow man, I sensed something was up when she started taking pills again, and her entire personality changed. Blue text says, about when do you think that was? Because she was always on medication for her bipolar/depression, but at one point her mum sent her some anxiety meds, which she started taking like crazy. They should have lasted her way longer than they did. Grey text says, hold up, let me look. Grey text says, around the 27th was when it really hit, but I know she mentioned it on Snapchat before that. Blue text says, yeah, that must be the Klonopin then. It was the Klonopin, plus cigs and bud, and then she threw some alcohol in a couple times. It was not good. Grey text says, yeah, it didn't seem good. Blue text says, you should not combine Klonopin and alcohol, and she was. The last night she was here, she drank a whole liter of 32% alcohol, smoked, and popped pills. Then she violently vomited for maybe 10 minutes straight, and then blacked out. Blue text says, did Ivy never tell you how old I was? Or did she tell you a different age? Grey text says, she never mentioned it. Just made it seem like you were a little younger, but not a lot. Blue text says, ah. Grey text says, yeah, I had no idea you were 15. I figured you were like 18. This was a very time-consuming video to make. It was also a story that hit close to home for me. After 5 hours, we've read through the provided evidence from 6 different testimonies. It might not seem like a lot. I'm just a guy on the internet, using an AI-generated voice to read text put on a screen. However, the publicity is what matters. This predator's face is in the video, along with her 2 known Facebook accounts, put in the description of this video. If you are someone who knows her, or if you've got your own story, come forward, make your voice publicly known. You don't have to hide or be afraid.